Elvis Andrews,
and 29 other MLB clubs.
high drive, deep left field. El Nino left the building.
Guerrero lifts one to left field and gone. Ohtani, that was a moonshot out there in the right center.
Alonso defends his title, the 2021 Derby champion.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from OPS Plus to juiced balls to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is A's Cast Live. Great to be here with you as we get you ready for the day in Major League Baseball. We got a great, and I mean great, guest list today. Bill Moriarty is going to join us. And you never put his affiliation up here, Commander. I can't remember.
Editor-in-Chief of Athletics Farm.
Editor-in-Chief of Athletics Farm is going to be here. The pitching ninja, Rob Friedman, will be here at 2 o'clock. Moriarty will be here at 1:30. And then Mike Petriello from MLB.com. And, of course, you see Mike on MLB Network, as we got a lot to get into. We'll cover all of baseball with him. Because why? Because baseball's hot right now on the coast. And it's good for baseball. Let's face it. No offense to all of our friends in what they like to call the flyover states. And I've had some great times in flyover states. Let me tell you something. I still think Kansas City is one of the most underrated towns in the United States of America. I've thoroughly enjoyed multiple trips. Denver, Minnesota's great. Detroit. We never stay in Detroit, though. That's the thing. Like where the A's are right now, they stay in the Townsend Hotel. Look it up in Birmingham, Michigan. Beautiful. It reminds me of Walnut Creek, where the A's stay, and it's where all the NBA teams stay. It's where the baseball teams stay. It's at the Townsend Hotel, and it's a Townsend Street. No relation. I looked it up. No relation whatsoever. Beautiful hotel. But it's in Birmingham, and I would say for Bay Area people, if there was any town in the Bay Area, what it reminds me of where the A's are right now, it definitely is Walnut Creek. By the way, you know what else is in Walnut Creek?
The chicken pie shop.
Chicken pie shop of Walnut Creek. It's just like it's being in Birmingham, Michigan. So he will join us at 2:30. So we got Moriarty at 1:30, Pitching Ninja at 2. Ninja's got some new merch out. And I will never forget last season, San Jose State game. It's the end of the game. People are starting to leave, and I'm walking down the stands, and a guy's got a pitching ninja hat on. I'll tell the story to him. And I was like, right on, pitching ninja. The guy looks at me and goes, how did you know? Oh, you have no idea how I know. I just don't know you're wearing pitching ninja merch. I actually know the pitching ninja, and we'll have him here at 2 o'clock because a thing that struck me yesterday, and I got to turn my headphones. I don't know. Is that better? Oh, there we go. Something struck me yesterday, and that was for you if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Twitter. Of course, you can stream athletics.com/acecast, which you are right now if you're listening. Something that really, I knew it was going to be fascinating, and if you guys didn't get to hear it, are we going to be putting all of Ray Fosse's interviews on A's Cast?
I mean, we can do it. I have a lot. The ones we played so far and the ones I want to play.
We should do I was thinking about this. Obviously, it was very early in the morning. If you guys didn't wake up or you had to go to work or you had to go to school, whatever you had rolling, you weren't able to listen, totally understand. It was breakfast with Townie on a Tuesday. It was early. So we aired that game was what, at 10:10?
10:10, yeah.
So we would have aired that about 9:20-ish. No, the first segment is only 3 minutes. So it would have been around 9:20, a little bit before 9:20. And it's Ray and Sparky Anderson from the 80s. And the whole interview, I could have really broke down cut up all of Sparky's answers that he did with Ray and cut them up and go, man, this tells you so much about the history of the game, good and bad. And you might be saying, What the hell are you talking about? Well, Sparky was complaining about the baseballs in the 80s. Now, I'm assuming that a lot of you listening right now probably weren't even alive in the 80s, or if you were very young. Commander, what year were you born?
1988.
So there's a good chance. You know what year that was with Sparky?
It was actually 1995.
It was 95?
Yeah, notice even in the 80s. It was 95.
Oh, it sounded like the 80s. Wow.
Because in the
This
interview,
is worse than I thought.
Because in the interview, you hear Sparky say, "Well, I know the A's are not playing well."
That's
under
right.
Tony.
He's talking about Griffey.
And he's talking about Tony La Russa and how bad the team is in 95.
Okay.
But still, it's still troubling that what he was talking about.
It actually is more troubling because not from the baseball. He was bitching about the baseball then. It's mid-90s. He's bitching about the baseball. We all been complaining about the baseball.
2022, we're still complaining about the baseball.
Yes. But this is what's really scary is how he was complaining about how teams are wearing multiple uniforms now because they want to sell the game. Like, it kind of shows you how archaic baseball people were. I was going to give them the benefit of the doubt that this was the 80s. This is mid-90s. You wonder why the NFL and the NBA flew right past Major League Baseball? Because you got these dinosaurs they really had this belief that baseball was its own world. That it was about this game that's played for 9 innings, and that everything that happens in between these lines is sacred, should be cherished, and should be left alone for what its greatness is, and everything around it, I don't have time to bother with it. It really tells you that here we are in 95, right? You said it was 95?
Yeah, 1995.
That's my last year of baseball at San Jose State. That's how long ago this was. That this guy who's revered as a baseball genius and everything, their realm of the baseball clubhouse and the diamond were this sacred place, and everything else is just outside noise. And in the meantime, the NFL is going, nope, number one thing is television. Merchandise is huge. Growing our game worldwide. Get our fans our product as much as possible. And here is Sparky Anderson saying, I want none of that in 1995 because it's all about baseball and this sacred ground and land that we have and this game in between the line. You wonder why baseball got passed by. You wonder why it looked archaic in an old man game. You wonder why. You wonder why it took Cal Ripken Jr. and steroids and a home run race to bring it back and to make it fun. Sparky didn't make it sound fun.
Not at all.
I couldn't believe, like, now that I think that that's even 95, that even scares even more. Like, I wasn't working in the game. I was in college. It just shows. But you know what? We still have remnants of that. We still have broadcasters from that era. I don't like interleague play. Like, what? Look at the back of the baseball card. What? You guys are like, I mean, it just, wow. So that's Sparky Anderson. I didn't even want to start the show with that. It's like, I don't know how many people were listening. It was early in the morning, but I was just shocked listening to him. And now I'm even more shocked. I thought it was the 80s. That was actually the 90s.
Well, I was worried because you texted me. You said, can you send me the Sparky interview? And I was like, I listened to it. I'm like, did he say something that was wrong, or I missed, or he swore, or something happened? And then no, we were just talking back and forth. And
I don't want to hate on radio, but it look what we're doing now. We're streaming. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. This is 95. Silicon Valley is starting to boom, right? Yeah. I got buddies who were leaving college at San Jose State to go work at startups, who at that time, all of a sudden they were the startup millionaires. Like, oh, the stock, I have $1 million. Some made it. Some made a lot of money. Some guy's stocks end up not being worth $1 million, but that was the start of what we know of Silicon Valley to do what we're doing now. YouTube, Twitter. But then back then, that's the Sparky Anderson newspaper. I'm a newspaper man. I'm a radio guy. It's about our radio network, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they still probably didn't even like cable television at that point, right? I mean, in the 90s is when the new ballparks started coming in. It's where the cable kind of took over the game, and cable was becoming king because people started signing these cable deals, and that's where the money started to really grow. Not in Sparky's eyes. He didn't care about the money. He was talking about, oh, these little guys. You got a bunch of little guys hitting 15 home runs. He said that multiple times.
I know. He wasn't happy with guys.
He wasn't happy with little guys hitting 15 home runs because that's not part of his sacred game. He even started talking about money, and the money he brought up was so small. You're like, the people of that which makes me think of what baseball would have been like in the 80s, the 70s, my God, even in the 60s, how these people viewed business, viewed the game. They viewed the game above anything else, right? To where we now know that's just dumb. No offense, dumb. Small-minded thinking was in our game for a long time, and it hurt it. It really did. Baseball could be. Remember, America's pastime. Football just went right past it. Football's America's pastime now. I mean, I can show you take me random SEC football game on a Saturday, not Alabama.
Mississippi State, Texas A&M.
Way better ratings than the World Series. Give me another one.
Who's the worst? Missouri and Arkansas.
By the way, my grandmother was one of 11. My grandmother was the youngest of 11. And then they all migrated out west, and they all called it Missouri. So when I brought that up to people who are actually from Missouri, younger people like, that's not called Missouri. I'm like, old people called it Missouri. I don't know. We can investigate that. But they called it Missouri. They did. That's fact.
My wife's cousin played baseball at Missouri, and he said he never heard it called Missouri before. And he's from California. Then he moved to Texas.
I don't know.
So, yeah, so Arkansas and Missouri.
Arkansas, LSU, Florida, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. On CBS.
Well, Kentucky's, to their defense, now Kentucky's actually not bad. Vandy still stinks at football. Now, Vandy baseball, for sure. But
Vandy football's not walking through that door.
No.
Jake, I'll give you one.
Jay Cutler ain't coming through those doors.
I'll give you one. Ole Miss against Kentucky.
The lane train.
On a Saturday, CBS, because if you know, CBS has SEC Saturdays. In our country, nationwide television ratings, right? The national television, eyes on the tube. Ole Miss against who did I say?
Kentucky.
Kentucky will get higher ratings than the World Series. I'm not even bringing up NFL. I'm just going college football. So the Sparky Andersons of the world, genius, Hall of Famer, we love you. You guys blew it. You and your idiot commissioner, Bud Selig, you all blew it. Now, baseball, as I've said, still a viable business, makes a lot of money, but the way they make money now is becoming different. And it's not because of your players. It's not because of your cherished game. It's because you got a lot of games, you got a lot of content, and the Apples of the world, the Amazons, the Googles. Google owns YouTube. We got YouTube games. You're a content provider. That's your big value now. Who's the biggest player right now in Major League Baseball?
Biggest player?
Not tallest wise. That's a guy.
No,
they're
just talking about
an
around.
Who's the guy just pitched for the Giants? Who's like 6?
Sam. His last name starts with an H.
How much? 6'11"?
6'11". Yeah, I think he's the tallest pitcher to ever pitch. It was like him, John Roush, Randy Johnson. There's a bunch of
what's his name? Young, who's in the
Chris Young. You mean Rangers GM Chris Young?
You mean it was Princeton, right?
Princeton, yeah.
Princeton basketball legend Chris Young.
See how they say this guy.
He was what, 6'10"?
Yeah, I'm trying to find this guy.
He was a power forward. He wasn't even a center.
I don't know how to.
Literally, Princeton, the most boring basketball ever played. Princeton. I don't even know what their nickname is.
They are the Tigers.
I I just said I don't know what they're.
Yeah, I think now you got one with Princeton. Princeton Tigers. Yeah.
Princeton Tigers. But yeah, I mean,
how do you think Sparky Anderson would feel about
who's the biggest guy in the game right now? Shohei?
I'd say Shohei or Trout.
Okay. I guarantee you, as much as you want to talk about Trout, Shohei, you can talk about anybody, any of the Yankees, any player. You go over to China, they're all wearing basketball jerseys.
Fact.
They're all wearing Steph Kerr and LeBron James jerseys. You go worldwide. I mean, baseball's great, but so I don't know why I got off. I wanted to actually. There's another thing I want to start this show with today, and because I am of the belief that play the damn game. Play. I don't care what the score is. I'm so tired of unwritten rules. I want people, when kids come to the ballpark, I want them to see baseball. I want them to enjoy it. I know when the game's over, they're getting back in the car and they don't care and they're going home and they'll do whatever, play video games or hopefully go out and play some wiffle ball. But while you're there, entertain. We're the entertainment business. And there was that Giants game early in the season. Padres are getting hammered by the Giants. I don't remember what the score is.
Was it 10-1 or 10-2, 11-2?
Dude steals a base in the second inning. Dude bunts in the sixth inning, not the ninth, sixth inning. Everybody's up in arms.
Mauricio Dubon is who bunted.
Up in arms. Everybody's, oh my God, unwritten rules. What are you doing? And I remember for my NBC hit, which, by the way, will be very interesting today. If you're going to be watching NBC Sports California, it's going to let you know. It was really a last-minute deal. So if my facts are not right on that, it was a thrown-together deal.
I would say you're looking at me, but I was right here, so I heard the whole thing.
So if you wonder why we were a little bit late today, well, they had us in a 50-minute meeting today, and we still got to do our jobs. And we're coming off a doubleheader yesterday, for God's sakes. We got 15 games in 13 days. But anyway.
By the way, the Giants pitch real quick, so just clear my mind. Sean Jelly is the guy that was
Jelly,
yeah.
As in jellyfish.
Yeah, it's spelled Hjelle, but it's pronounced Jelly. He is 6'11", 228. Baseball Reference says so. 6'11", so he is a tall pitcher.
That's a long. That's he's basically a center.
Yeah, that's well, in the NBA, centers are 6'9" now. Draymond Green's 6'8", but
he's not a center, and it's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong.
Go Warriors! They played tonight, I think.
Closeout game.
Yeah, good. We'll see. No John Morant. No John Morant.
Whoa! Well, he's got the knee, right?
Yeah, he's out for the rest of the
postseason.
season.
Are you Dub Nation in trouble? Are you saying Dub Nation is in trouble?
No, I'm not saying that. Maybe they're going back. Is the game in Memphis? I think it's in Memphis. So they might lose tonight, but they'll probably win it. They'll probably win Game 6 at Chase. I don't know. I haven't watched
Dub Nation is alive and where's my so my old studio, I used to have all the stuff from all the teams I worked. So I got a bunch of Raiders stuff, Warriors stuff. Where's my Warriors foam finger that says you're number one? Dub Nation. We support Dub Nation. I can't believe you go against Dub Nation.
I just said they'll probably win in 6.
Oh, you started with whoa.
Game 6.
So back to my point. I went on NBC California. I did my hit. And Brody and Dave Stewart destroyed me. Like I'm an idiot. That's Bush, it's Bush League. You don't bunt when you're up X amount of runs in the 6th inning. That's Bush League. Oh, that's Bush League. But last night in Anaheim, do we have it?
Yeah.
Let's roll the tape. Let's talk about Dave Stewart, A's Hall of Famer, retiring his jersey, came down my road by saying, you never saw Willie Mays do that because he watched Willie Mays. Well, did we ever see the great Willie Mays in a game do this?
What is going on?
Why is it?
Look at him. Giddy. Look at him doing this. Giddy. Come on, Giddy. Oh, my goodness. Left-handed Anthony Rendon with the two-run home run.
Isn't this the greatest thing we've ever seen?
Make this up.
Can't make it up.
This is one of those oh me, oh my moments.
Movie just said it's an oh my moment.
That's left-handed. Goes yard.
Well,
Are you kidding me?
I don't believe it.
Oh, man.
Put the cowboy hat on. Put the cowboy hat on.
Video courtesy of Bally Sports. That's where we got that feed.
Down in Southern California.
Yeah.
So, Brett Phillips, Maverick, friend of the program, as you know, here on A's Cast Live. Really a friend of the program. Guy for 2 days came over and hung out with us.
Yeah, he wouldn't go away.
So, you have a position player pitching. You have Anthony Rendon going to the plate, batting left-handed for the first time in his career. I mean, all we need to do is pop up a tent, get some lions, bears, and tigers, and we got a circus. Get some clowns. That's a three-ring circus right there, right? Where's my integrity police? You're making a mockery of this game, according to the integrity police. The Giants bunt or Giants steal a base in the second inning, and I hate, you know how I feel about the Giants. Whatever team we're talking about here. I'm just using them as the example.
Well, they did it.
Guy stealing a base only in the second inning, and you're saying it's Bush League. A guy's bunting because he's struggling. It's his stats. I'm bunting for a base hit in the sixth inning because I'm struggling, right?
Yeah.
Who is it again?
Mauricio Dubon.
Dubon was struggling, if I believe, at the time to start
Correct,
the year.
he was.
He needs a base hit. It's the sixth inning. You're calling it Bush League. And then you're calling me out saying, Willie Mays never played like that. Oh, did Willie Mays or Hank Aaron ever step up and hit left-handed against a pitcher? Where is my intent? We're celebrating this moment. I think it's cool. Brett Phillips, Maverick Phillips on Twitter, says you got lucky because he served it up to Mike Trout before that.
Yeah, Trout crushed that ball.
He gave it up to Trout and then put on Twitter. I mean, this is good for the fans. It's good for the kids. Where is my integrity police that went after me? I wanted to do it today on NBC, but there was a different producer. I want to come down everybody's road who said I was wrong. Because if you were wrong, if you were pissed about a guy stealing a bag in a second inning or bunting in the sixth, you should be really angry about this. Because this is making a complete mockery of the game.
Think about the sequence that this happened. It's in the bottom of the eighth inning. A position player on the mound pitching to a guy batting left-handed who is struggling to hit the ball right-handed for the Angels, mind you. In a game where the guy on the Angels has a no-hitter going in the eighth inning.
Does that not even make it more? Thank you very much. I forgot about that. We got a no-no going on the other side, and you're throwing out a position player? Where is the integrity police today?
Phillips' ERA is like 27 right now.
And you know what they're going to do? You're a bunch of gutless cowards, and you're going to come out and say nothing because that was entertaining as hell, and that's what our sport needs.
But
you heard me. Let me say it again. You're a bunch of gutless cowards, and you won't come out and go after these guys because public opinion will destroy you. But if the game's 8-0 and a guy steals in the second inning, you're going to be all upset. Wouldn't you agree? Just agree. You don't always have to agree with me. Cody, obviously never agrees with me. But on this one, Cody, won't you agree that if you were upset about that Giants-Padre game at the beginning of the year, it was so long ago, I don't even remember when it was.
That was in April.
I couldn't even tell you the date.
I know
it was a night game,
and
right?
It was at Oracle Park.
If Matt Williams was so angry that night, if Dave Stewart had to bring up Willie May, how should you feel about this game?
You should be upset about it.
You made a mockery of the game. Right?
Yeah. But I loved it.
What'd you do I told you my charger.
It's right behind you. I was on the phone with my wife's dad, who was an Angels fan. My wife is an Angels fan. I'm watching all this transpire at the same time while the Angels are going for a no-hitter, and there's a guy hitting left-handed for the first time in his career off a position player who, now I know we know him, but he was pitching. It was just a wild sequence.
Well, I just turned my light out, by the way, unfortunately.
Still looks good.
I was off a double dip, a double header. See, this is what I like. We can, when you do a streaming show, what we're learning, you can be relaxed. Not everything. If you were doing this on like cable TV right now, they'd be flipping out.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. I never produced cable television, so I've only produced sports talk and streaming radio now.
Well, sports talk, no one would care. That's a whole different ballgame. Ah,
No,
there's
you're
my
creating
light.
news by doing that.
There's my light. Do we have Bill on the line? There he is. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful. It's good to see you. What do you think of the set?
It looks like you've done a little redecorating this season. It looks a little spiffier, I think.
Yeah, we stepped our game up just for guests like you.
Well, thank you. I need to decorate. You know, I've got some old Barry Zito jerseys and memorabilia. I've got some old batting helmets from the 70s. I guess I should get with the program.
I bet you've got some really old classic stuff.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I remember going to Helmet Day at the Oakland Coliseum sometime in the late 70s. Yep. Hey, you know, I've got one where it's reversed. They've got the top is yellow and the bill is green, which is a very unusual combo. You don't see those often.
All right, you got to take us through this because, and it bugs me ever since the ball club moved the AAA to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Every guy, Sky Bolt was the next great outfielder in the history of the game of baseball, right? Like, there's always going to be there's going to be this, you know, number. Shea Langoliers is the new guy, and we had Fran Reardon on, and Fran said, "Hey, listen, let me tell you, the one thing that's so fascinating about him is the fact that he is super fast. Like, legitimately, like StatCast tells you, he's super fast." What do we really, before we get into Shea and all the other aviators, what are we supposed to finally make of, now that we've seen it for years, make of Las Vegas and AAA?
Yeah, well, you know, the PCL is definitely a hitter's league. You've got a lot of parks, not just in Vegas, but El Paso, Salt Lake, Reno, you know, definitely hitter's parks. So you have to factor that in. But that's why, you know, these sort of advanced stats where they're looking at exit velo and stuff like that becomes much more important, because they can actually measure, you know, how hard is the ball actually coming off the bat, as opposed to is it going over the fence in these, you know, tiny parks at high elevations. So these things factor in and make a difference. But with a guy like Shea Langoliers, who you mentioned, yeah, he's hitting a lot of home runs in a hitter's park and a hitter's league, but he's leading the entire PCL in home runs. So even if, you know, he's aided by the parks in the league, he's still hitting more than everyone else in the league, you know, so that does count for something.
So what do you do with him? I mean, catcher, but if he's got wheels, like Fran said, and it's showing up on StatCast, which is telling me this kid's a great athlete. I know I looked it up. He's played other positions. What do you do with somebody that's that fast and has all these tools? Do you really leave him at catcher?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think, look, obviously, if he can be a catcher, that's very valuable. And, you know, there was talk in the offseason of the A's potentially trading Sean Murphy, and it is the A's. We know everyone's not going to be around forever. But at this point, I think you'd agree, the A's offense is not exactly lighting things up. And if you got a guy...
Oh, no, Bill, my numbers say different. These numbers, I mean, off the charts how much the A's are.
I think you're holding that page upside down. But you know, you've got a guy who's one of the best hitters in the Pacific Coast League. For my money, I'd say he's hot. He's on a roll. His rhythm is good. His timing's good. Why not bring him up? You can have Sean Murphy and he both catch, both play some DH, both play some first base. You know, why not give it a shot when a guy's hot and he's locked in and you don't have much offensive production? You know, I don't know what they're waiting for, but you know, I mean, they obviously haven't felt the desire to force it yet, but at some point, if he keeps hitting like this, I think they're going to have to find a way to get him in there and you know, help the offensive production of this team one way or another. I mean, he's been the best hitter in the A's minor league system, and like I said, one of the best hitters in all of AAA so far this season.
All right, remember the movie Moneyball, where they go meet with Scott Hatteberg and Billy Bean? Brad Pitt says, "Oh, it's easy to play first base, right, Wash?" And Wash goes, "It's extremely hard." All right, it's easy. It's easy to play anywhere. Give a guy a glove. I mean, The one thing that is a reality is that all of these players, I try and remind people this, that all of these players, they all grew up great athletes. They all grew up playing multiple positions. He's obviously a guy that can go out to the outfielder. If you could say, okay, we're not going to have you play catcher because I want your wheels to play every day. That's one thing that comes to the ballpark every day is speed. If his speed is as good as Fran Riordan's StatCast says it is, it's not the eye test, it's StatCast. Where can we put him? Where can we say, hey, man, we're not beating you up behind the dish. We're putting you somewhere. Where's the best spot for him? It's kind of reminded me of Soderstrom, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for a catcher, the most natural spot is always at first base. I think that's the easiest place to move a guy from behind the plate. And no matter what Wash says, it's not that hard if you're a major league professional player and you've been catching, which is a very hard position to play. If you can do that, you can figure out how to play a little bit of first base. But it's interesting that you mentioned Soderstrom because he hasn't been catching in the last week or so, and a lot of people have been wondering, are the A's abandoning him as a catcher? But actually, he's just had a thumb contusion. He's had a thumb issue, so he hasn't been able to catch. So he's been playing a lot of first base recently. But that kind of goes to show you what happens when the guy's catching. He can get banged up a little more easily. And if he's a good hitter, maybe it's better off to move him from behind the plate where he's going to get more dinged up and put him in a spot where he can, be a little safer.
Yeah, that's always an interesting, what do you do with good athletic catchers? And, you always want to go, he's Craig Biggio, put him out at second base. And next, he'll be a Hall of Famer. But definitely this, when the time, I don't know when that time is. When are we talking to David Forrest, by the way?
Maybe on Friday.
We're going to ask him like, hey, how much does this kid got to hit for you? There's a reason why you traded for him before you do something. Nick Allen, very interesting. I think will be a mainstay at shortstop, could be second base. We talked to Jim Leland. Because we're talking about Christian Pache going, this guy's struggling. Like, what do you do?
Right.
And Leland said, I sent plenty of guys down in my career knowing that they had to go down, get some positive vibes going, and then they come back up and the rest is history. And if you send a guy down and he never comes back, then he was never going to be that good anyway. I see Nick Allen being one of those players. What did you think about his time here? And what do you think about his future with the big club?
Yeah, I think his future is good. Obviously, we know he can play shortstop defensively. There's no question about that. It's just a matter of how much he can hit. And he has been, he's bulked up a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, he's a little bigger. He's been hitting the ball harder, which is a good sign. So, I think he's going to get there offensively. It might take a little time, but I think the fact that he's hitting the ball harder, it's coming off the bat better is a good sign. With little guys like him, remember Billy Burns, he had a little good time with the A's, but eventually, he couldn't drive it into the gaps. He couldn't hit it off the wall even. So the outfielders started playing in on him, and suddenly they're playing him so shallow that he can't even doink in those singles anymore. So if you're a little guy, you've got to be able to show that you can at least drive it into the gaps, get it near the wall anyway, so they don't cheat in on you and keep you from getting those singles that you need. And I think Nick Allen's been showing that he can hit the ball hard enough. He can get it into the gaps, get his doubles, not allow the outfielders to cheat in on him. So, look, if he can get away with hitting 250 with some doubles, playing the defense he does, he'll be a great addition to the team. So it's just a matter, getting a little more time in AAA just to get comfortable. He's seen Major League pitching now. Hopefully he has a little better sense of what that's all about. But, I'd expect that by the second half of the season, if everything goes as planned, that you'll probably see him up with the A's playing shortstop on a pretty regular basis. I can't imagine why they wouldn't have him do that, at least by the second half of this season.
We had a very scary situation yesterday in game one of the doubleheader where you had a ball in between Pinder and Elvis. They collide. Pinder got hit with Elvis's leg in the face and his neck. And you're like, oh boy, you worry about concussion. You worry about neck, back, that whole thing. And the whole time that's going down and Kotze, Paparessa, and everybody comes out and they're looking at these guys. And part of me was like, here is the major problem with allowing teams and baseball to carry 8,000 pitchers. You've got no depth. You have razor thin depth on your bench because you got so many guys down in the bullpen, and it's your guys' fault for making the game this way. And if both those players go out and we're in a doubleheader, what do you do? And that was kind of a question in the postgame show. Well, what really do we have at AAA? We've seen Christian Lopes. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, who's down there? If some guys get injured and we're still carrying only 12 position players and you need guys to come up, who really is down there that's good enough to come here and help the A's win?
Well, it's interesting because I was just thinking about that very point. By the way, you can say hello to my cat there. But I was just thinking about that the other day. When I was a kid, I remember teams would typically have 16 position players on the roster. Now they've often got a dozen, which means you've only got 3 guys on the bench. So it's
a catcher.
It's a big difference. And I don't know if you know, but the A's just released Eric Thames and Buddy Reed from the AAA roster. So there's a couple of names down there that you might have known that aren't there anymore.
When did that go down? Is that today?
I believe it happened actually last night. Buddy Reed and Eric Thames. I think if you go to the A's transactions page, you'll see it listed there. But they did just add someone you might know, Matt Davidson, first baseman, third baseman, who's been around, power hitting, right-handed hitter. He was signed to a minor league deal, so he's now there at Vegas. He's a guy that could be, first base, DH if you need it, still has some power. I was glad to see they brought up Luis Barrera. I thought he was one of the guys who should get an opportunity to get some at-bats. Besides Barrera, Davidson, Nick Allen, those are probably the top guy. Oh, Shea Langoliers, of course, not forgetting him. Those are the top guys down there. After that, much of the depth is at AA this year. I mean, you've got guys like Zach Geloff, Logan Davidson, Max Schumann, Jonah Bride. They're all hitting really well at Midland. And I think before long, you'll see some spots opening up in AAA, and those guys will be up there, and they might be kind of the next round of reinforcements at this stage of the game.
I totally understand. I don't like it. I hate it. I wish they would have addressed it in the CBA, and they didn't. And front office people will hate me for saying this. My apologies, Billy Beane and David Forst and crew. I hate manipulating time. I think it is just the dumbest. Like, can you for people to understand how bad this practice is, can you imagine in other sports, we're going to draft Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal. We're going to draft Peyton Manning, Barry Sanders, you name it down the line. And none of these superstars, Lawrence Taylor, guys who came out and were just unstoppable, right? Can you imagine in those other sports that they went, nope, we're not going to play them because we don't want to make them free agents faster. What a crime that would have been to football and basketball. We're not going to play Wayne Gretzky until we can manipulate his service time. Can you imagine? I mean, it's just like the stupid. We may never have these players like Stan Musial and Hank Aaron and Willie Mays and these guys because we manipulate their service time. We stick them in the minors when they shouldn't be there. And that makes me think of Zach Geloff. We saw him in San Jose when the Ports came here, and you're looking at this guy. Tall, athletic, can play. I mean, he was laterally can move. I mean, I only saw him for one game, and I watched a lot of him, and you could just see, and just to watch him hit, he's got all the tools. Manipulating a guy's service time who's a college guy, I think is stupid. Like, if he's a college guy, you got to rush him to the big leagues.
Well, I think, I mean, your point is right. One thing to take into consideration, though, is it is different in baseball. Football and basketball, they can come right out of the college game, go right to the pros and succeed.
Well, minor leagues, the college is their minor leagues.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys, there's a lot more in the development process in baseball. So it is understandable if a guy comes right out of college and doesn't go straight to the majors. I mean, they used to try and do that with pitchers sometimes, and it rarely ever worked out. There is a certain amount of development that's required. That's not to say that there isn't a certain amount of service time manipulation that goes on too, but Zach Geloff was just drafted last year. Usually guys like that start out at some level of A-ball. So the fact that they're even starting him out at Double-A this season is considered a bit of a push. But some guys are more ready than others, and he certainly looks to be pretty ready. He's done nothing but hit. He's hitting, I think, 339 at Midland. I think as of last night, he was leading the Texas League in hits. And he's just done nothing but hit. So hopefully if he keeps this up by the second half of the season, maybe he'll be up in AAA at Vegas. And, that puts him obviously just one step away from the majors. Also, just so you know, he's been splitting time between third base and second base this year at Midland. So he does have some positional versatility. So he could, potentially slot in a couple different spots for the A's at some point in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, I don't expect him to get to the big leagues this year. But I'm saying as a college guy, you're not supposed to be there that long. And the way that we deal with players, how many years do you want this guy? Because trust me, we've talked about new ballparks not till at least 2028. And if things keep going, we could be 2029. Geloff's what, 22?
I think 22 or 23.
Yeah,
probably 22.
Let's just start doing the math. How long you want this guy? So that's where when I'm looking at it, I understand that the next great A in a new ballpark may be in high school right now, maybe just entering college, right? That's when that's just being realistic. So that's when I say Nick Allen. I want to know what the hell is Poisson going to be anything or not? Like, I want to know, because these guys may not be the answer for the new ballpark, but they could be the answer vaulting you into the new ballpark. So having a guy sit in the minor leagues forever, I don't know what that does for me.
Well, also, at this stage of the game where the A's are at, obviously we're in full rebuilding mode right now. So if there's ever a time to take a chance and roll the dice and see what you've got, it's a year like this. Now, I would expect that probably we will see a lot more guys get their major league shot in the second half. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys on this roster that the A's will try to unload at the deadline. If you're a veteran or, you're in the last legs of your contract, like most of these guys are, I don't think they're going to be around in the second half. If they can get, a mediocre low A-ball player for some of these guys at the deadline, I'm sure they will. So I think you're going to see a lot of roster churn at the deadline, which means you'll then also see a lot of the prospects who performed well in the first half probably get a much better chance to play and show what they can do in the second half this season.
So last night I was up late and I was emailing Cody an article that came out, MLB.com. This is not going to shock you. So basically they polled a bunch of executives, and certain executives did reply, and they had a bunch of questions for the start of 2022. Who's the best team? Who's the best player? All that kind of stuff. And then it came down to who's the most tradable guy at the deadline. Who do you think got the most votes?
Oh, no, well, I'm guessing I'm assuming it was an A's player. I'm assuming Frankie Montas.
Ding, ding, ding. And I'm thinking, yeah, I mean, if it's me, I'm holding him to the deadline. I'm getting just desperate GMs out there. There's going to be GMs who are absolutely desperate. And when I mean desperate, some of these guys are going to be fighting for their jobs. So you can find a GM that knows if he doesn't go on a playoff run, doesn't get to the playoffs, he could be losing his job. And if you think you're going to lose a job, you don't care about the prospects in your minor league system, because you may not have a job to even enjoy those prospects. So find the most desperate guy. But I'm going to allow you, Bill, to be running the show for me. And you got Frankie Montas. You're going to trade him. You and Melissa Lockhart know our minor league system as well as anybody. What does our system need? You're trading Frankie Montas. What do you want to get back?
Well, I'll tell you, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing more value. And I think most GMs would agree with me. There's nothing more valuable than pitching. You can sort of always, well, almost always, not this year with the A's, find a hitter, but pitching is so hard to come by, and it's become so much more valuable, and there's so many pitching injuries. The number of A's minor league pitchers on the IL is just ridiculous. So I think pitching is such a rare, valuable commodity. And if I'm trading a guy like Frankie Montas, I want to get a couple of arms that I can count on are going to be major league pitchers very soon in return. Obviously you have to deal with different teams and see what you can get. If somebody's offering a really valuable hitter they're willing to give up that you really value, hey, you'll take them. But for me, especially if I'm giving up a pitcher, I want to get a couple of good arms in return that I feel are going to be solid major leaguers going forward. And I think you saw the A's do that in most of the deals in the offseason. They really restocked the minor league pitching system, getting, Zach Logue and Adam Oller and JT Ginn and Ryan Cusick and Gunnar Hoagland and Joey Estes. That's what they really seem to be intent on doing. And that's certainly what I would do if I was going to deal Frankie Montas. Get a couple of arms that can really help you in the next year or two.
The fans are going to go, Bill, come on. I want a star. I want a guy who plays every day. I want a guy who hits bombs, who can run, play defense, doesn't strike out every time at the plate. Why can't I get one of those guys?
I know it's a lot of fun, but pitching is really the name of the game more than anything. I remember back when the Mets were going to trade Tom Seaver, and the theory at the time was that no starting pitcher was worth a regular starting position player, even Tom Seaver. And the Reds gave up like 6, non-starters to get Tom Seaver because they refused to give up a starting position player, even for Tom Seaver. But in the modern game, people know that pitching is really the name of the game. You just don't see teams going to the playoffs or the World Series that don't have a good pitching staff. That really is more important, even though it's far less exciting than seeing a guy hitting them out of the park. But you know what? Even Renato Nunez or Chris Carter can hit 30 home runs a year out of the park, and nobody actually wants to put them on their roster these days. So that shows you how much more important pitching is than even power at this point in the game.
Tom Seaver had a nice little career, 311 wins, a 2.86 ERA, 109.9 WAR. He was a decent little pitcher. Actually, recently, I don't know what I was watching. I can't remember what it was, but they were showing the All-Star game from when I don't know why it was on, but it was the All-Star game at Yankee Stadium where Tom Seaver is obviously a National League All-Star, but he's a National League All-Star as a Cincinnati Red. And everybody at Yankee Stadium, because he starred New York, he got this standing ovation, and it didn't stop. And he kept tipping his cap, and then he stepped back in line, went back out, tipped his cap again, and it was like, I've never seen that before. That was a big league deal. Okay, guys, lower level, Poisson, Muncy, looking at these guys, who looks like going to be the real deal? And Poisson, are we 5.1 million? Is it ever going to work out?
Those Dominican teenagers are always a bit of a crapshoot. And, he's still 19, so who's to say for sure? But, he didn't have a good year at Stockton last year. They've moved him to second base. He's hitting about 220 this year in his second year at Stockton. He's still 19. I mean, if he's going to pan out, it's going to be a long-term project. It's not going to happen overnight. So I wouldn't want to put too many eggs in that basket. But I'll tell you, there are a couple guys at Stockton that are really performing well, that are really exciting, that I think really worth keeping an eye on. Of course, last year's top draft pick for the A's, Max Muncy 2.0, the shortstop. He's just 19 years old at Stockton. He's leading the team in home runs. He's taken a lot of walks. He's getting on base. He's playing well across the board. His batting average is still a little low. He's hitting around 210 or something, but he's taking walks, getting on base, hitting for power, playing well enough in the field at 19 years old in the Cal League. And A's people I've talked to are very excited about the way he plays the game. So I think Max Muncy is definitely someone to keep an eye on and who will definitely be moving along a lot more quickly than Robert Poisson. And another guy from last year's draft, the A's 4th round pick, outfielder Denzel Clark, has really gotten off to a great start at Stockton. You know, he's a big guy and he's got a really intriguing mix of speed and power. He's leading the team in both extra base hits and stolen bases. I think he's already stolen 10 bases, and he's a big guy. He's got power. I mean, he kind of makes me think of, you know, not to exaggerate, but he's kind of an Andre Dawson type, you know, like he's a big guy. He's got speed. He's got power. He kind of seems like he'd do anything. They started him in right field. Now he's been playing in center field. If he can stick in center field, that makes him even more valuable. But he's really performed well out of the gate. So I think Max Muncy and Denzel Clark, who were both draft picks last year, have performed well at Stockton. And then last year's 2nd round pick, who we talked about, Zach Geloff's been performing really well at Midland. So the A's last year's draft class has really been looking good. I mean, having, those 3 out of your top 4 picks really off to tremendous starts with their first full season teams is really a good sign.
Well, I got to tell you, what you do for us here on A's Cast, we absolutely love it. I mean, this is such a pivotal time to find out what's going on in our minor league system and who are the future A's who are going to help us get back on track. So we always love having you on the program. We always appreciate what you do for us for A's Cast. It's a great listen. Be well, and let's talk again soon.
Absolutely. Anytime. Always happy to talk prospects with you, Chris.
Take care. Bill Moriarty, who does a fantastic job once again covering the minor league system, editor-in-chief of Athletics Farm. And, listen to A's Cast all the time, Cody. And when his segments pop on and he's talking to managers or he's talking to Ed Sprague and getting the dish, that's what we'd like to say. I just uploaded the newest episode of The Farm yesterday with Grady Fuson. It's like 30 minutes long with Bill and Grady. So check it out, athletics.com/AceCast, as it says if you're streaming on the watching on YouTube on the top left-hand side of the screen. Coming up next, the Pitching Ninja right here on A's Cast Live.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
August 6th is International Trading Card Day, and Topps wants to celebrate with you. Visit your participating local hobby shop, where you will receive a free pack of cards, plus a special card if you purchase $10 or more of Topps products, while supplies last. Post your packs on social media using the hashtag ToppsITCD, and follow along with @Topps. Visit Topps.com for more information.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Well, he's an absolute legend, a titan in the game of baseball now. @Pitching Ninja on Twitter. Nobody better following the game of baseball and what's going on the mound. And we love having Rob Friedman on the program, the Pitching Ninja. Rob, how are you?
I am doing great. I think my camera isn't working, but that's okay, right?
We got to see you. Where are you?
I don't know. I'm trying to get this thing working. My computer is having problems.
Well, let me tell you a story. It happened. It happened this past football season. So I went to San Jose State, and I'm at a San Jose State football game. The game ends, and I'm walking down the stands. He's not there?
He dropped out. He was there. His video was there, and then it disappeared. And no, he's back, but it's not showing his video.
Why is that?
When you first came on, when you're waiting, and no, well, he's gone again. When he's in the waiting room, it showed his actual video. Like he was there on
I saw
video.
him.
Yeah, and then now it's no
We're
video.
working the kinks out, folks.
Dude, I can't help you. I don't understand what's going on. This is bad.
I mean, I'm here to sell merchandise. I need to see the logo.
I love it.
I'm trying to sell your merch.
I know. Come on. I'm going to keep working on it.
All right. Well, I was telling the story. Did you hear about San Jose State football?
No, I didn't. I heard it started.
All right. So I'm at a San Jose State football game. It's the end of the game. I'm walking down the stands, and a guy has one of your hats on. And I go, pitching ninja. And he goes, you know? And I go, oh, I know the pitching ninja. I mean, so you talk about your merch blowing up. When I'm seeing it at a college football game, your merch out, at least out here, I don't know what the numbers say, but we see it now. We see with all the A's, I've worn your shirt on TV. A's players are wearing it. I see the hats in the stands. I hope you're doing well, because I know out west I'm seeing pitching ninja merch.
Well, I love hearing that. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing all that stuff out there. I still love it. Like I walked up to someone at the All-Star game who's wearing a pitching ninja shirt, and I was like, dude, nice shirt. It's like, and he was like, you look like him. I'm like, yeah, kind of am him. So it was really cool. Like, I love it.
Well, I saw the other day on Twitter, you've come out with a whole different line of different colors and the trucker mesh hats. And it's like, your hats, what's great about them, they're good looking, good design, go with a lot of different styles of clothing. You can wear them for golf. You can wear them for a baseball game. I think what you have done is you've created a line that really is something I can either wear a golf, ball game, going out to dinner. It's a slick look.
Well, I love to hear that because, see, you have great hair, though. You don't need a hat. Like my hair, I shave my head. Like I need to have a hat. I mean, I do this all for me.
Well, you're doing it well. So check this out. When Ray Fosse passed, we decided to do a series during our pregame shows of all of Ray's old interviews. And we ran an interview yesterday with Ray and Sparky Anderson, the Hall of Famer from the mid-90s. He was complaining about the baseball in the mid-90s. And now here we are today. You got Eric Chavez, the hitting coach, former A hitting coach for the Mets, complaining about the baseball. Chris Bassett complaining about the baseball. You're doing all these analytics. You're doing all these breakdowns on what's going on with the baseball.
Dude, I don't know. Like, all right, so this is one thing. Like, it's handmade, right? So you get a handmade couch, it's going to be different every time. We do these things by hand. You're always going to have kind of inconsistencies in the baseball. That's just one of those things. Now, the issue that you run into are when you have different batches of them, like one year they're trying to do one thing, the next year they're trying to do another thing with the leather. They need to get more player input on this stuff and really work out the kinks before you just chuck a ball in there. It seems like the ball's such an integral part of the game. And I feel like it sometimes is done without much forethought because they think, hey, it doesn't really matter, but it does matter.
Well, yeah, it matters a lot because it is the most important part of our game. It's how the game starts. Everything's about where the ball goes. Whatever the camera follows is the most important thing, and you're following the ball. And if it's changing, if the seams are different, if the way, just however it's moving. And that's the one thing I try and tell people all the time. The players understand equipment. I don't care if we're talking football, golf, whatever. Like a golfer, you give a golfer a different golf ball than he's using. And let's say you gave him a golf ball that didn't have any of the logos or anything. He would know exactly, this is not my ball. They know their equipment better than anybody else. And when the pitchers are all saying, man, different innings, the balls are different. And now the conspiracy is we're having different balls for primetime games versus regular games. This is just not right.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be those conspiracy things when you don't have a uniform thing. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, well, they don't like this team, so they're doing this with the ball for that game." I don't think they even necessarily, they haven't thought that out. I think sometimes they think the ball is going to fly further and it doesn't, because there's so many different factors aerodynamically that come into play. Like higher seams fly more in some situations, maybe not in other situations. So I think it's really tough to do intentionally. But the fact that it changes all the time gives rise to that conspiracy. Regarding golf balls, like I mean, I could tell my golf ball, but sometimes I don't really want to. Like I'll pick up someone else's and just play it if it's a better lie, wouldn't you? No, you wouldn't do that because you're a good golfer. I'm terrible.
No, but I can tell you right now, if I can tell, and I'm a hack, but I can tell the difference between the different Pro Vs. Like some are softer, some spin more. But if you go a Callaway versus a Titleist, I can completely tell you the difference. And I'm a hack. So can you imagine a baseball player who touches that baseball every day? Every day he's playing catch. He's throwing bullpens. He's constantly has the ball in his hand. He can tell that, hey, this ball from 3 years ago, seams, weight, feel, it's different. They can tell.
Oh, 100%. So I was hearing a conversation with some hitters, and they were saying, I can pick up a bat. Maybe my usual bat's 32.5 or 32.4. And if it was, I could say this one feels a little heavier, this one feels a little lighter. And it was like a 1/10 of an ounce difference. So absolutely, the equipment matters. And I think we don't give that enough credence. I think the players absolutely can tell. And you had those issues with sticky stuff too, where some players were using something just to get some tack on the ball because they felt like they couldn't get a grip and they were worried about hitting people. Others did it for spin, obviously, but you have folks that are legitimately worried because some of the MLB balls are just too hard and the seams were too low, so it was tough to grip them. Someday we'll work this out, but yeah, it's tough.
Oh, you don't want to get me started on that issue. As a former pitcher, nothing fries me more than you got your batting helmet, you got your elbow guard, you got a shin guard, you got an ankle guard, you got all the python, all the pine tar, you got the sticky spray, you got batting gloves. We give these chumps every possible thing they can have at the plate, and all we get is rosin. That's it. Really? Why can't we have pine tar? Why can't we have a sticky spray? Why do you get to have all these advantages? And hitters will be like, well, that's different. No, it's not. You get to have all that. Why can't last time I worked in the NFL for years. Everybody in the NFL has the same pads, same helmets. You get everybody. A quarterback could have the same elbow, same form arm stuff that a defensive lineman does if he wanted. Why can hitters have different stuff than pitchers? I don't understand that. Not fair.
Dude, I love it. I love you. That is exactly right. I don't think it's fair either. And I do think, like, hey, it makes the game more fun when you see the ball spinning like that and really nasty curveballs and stuff. Like, I think it's cool. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, hitters get all the love. That's why I exist, is to give pitchers love.
This is what I was put on earth to do, was to help the pitchers. Now, whenever I'm at a game or we watch a game on TV, it's such a half-ass check, the umpire with the pitchers down the hand. It's ridiculous. But have you seen what differences spider tack or copper tone with rosin, sunscreen, ever since we supposedly outlawed this and are checking? What have you seen from everything that you do monitoring these pitchers? What's the biggest difference?
I think spin rate has generally gone down some. So you do have the intended effect. I think using sticky stuff definitely drove up spin rates, but I see pitchers coping different ways. So people realize, like, the normal rosin, it's not particularly sticky unless you mix it with sweat or something. So you'll see a lot of pitchers go into their hair or go into their arm, not to get something illegal, but to get sweat mixed with rosin, which at least adds that tack, and you can get those spin rates a little back up.
It's kinda.
I know. It's not.
Cold weather does nothing because you're really not sweating.
Right. You have to like somehow create some sweat. And that's when you'll really see like under your hat, maybe your hair will be a little sweaty. But yeah, that's the best you can do. And it's a workaround. So I think people are you'll see a lot of pitchers sometimes go to their hair. And spin rates went down and now they seem to crept up a tiny bit. They're still not where they were, but people are trying to figure it out. I don't think a lot of pitchers are. I think when they put it down and said, "Hey, everybody, you can't do this," I think pitchers listen to that, and I don't see a lot of like I watch folks and see what they're doing, and I don't think there are pitchers that are trying to break that rule because if you get caught, you're screwed. Like that's your reputation for for a long time.
Now, the commander is brought up at Pitching Ninja on Twitter, and your breakdown. We know that Paulie K's, has changed his grip in the offseason for his breaking ball. You've noticed it's changed. He's got the ability to flip it in for a strike, and he's got the hammer to strike you out with. What are the differences in that you're seeing with Paul Blackburn?
Oh, I mean, it's just it's kind of night and day. He has been. I think he's opened up a lot of eyes around the country just how effective he's been. That breaking ball is sick, and it just increased its effectiveness a ton.
Yeah, I mean it is impressive when you see baseball across the entire deal now because more relievers are throwing than ever before. We're seeing more sliders than any other pitches. Are you surprised by that? And will we just continue to see this develop more to where it's just going to be a slider game and it's not a fastball game anymore?
I think it's been happening for years. So this is a great point that you bring up because obviously velocity has been increasing over years, right? Like, it's you're seeing more 100-mile-an-hour throwers, but hitters, because you have to adjust to that velo, you don't want to get beat on it. You're sitting that. So breaking pitches are more effective. So you have more pitchers throwing breaking balls than fastballs because hitters have to fear the fastball. So yeah, I think you are going to see that. And I also think the slider works really well with kind of, people were saying the two-seamer sinker is dead. You're seeing a lot of them now because if you think about it, you think about how a slider tunnels with a two-seamer. One goes arm side, one goes glove side. You can really set up some interesting scenarios where hitters can't pick up the spin if you start it off the plate. And you have the sinker that runs to the plate and the slider that runs off. So it makes for a really good pairing of pitches as well.
I know you're in a time crunch. You got time for one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you truly explain tunneling from the standpoint of the pitcher and also the standpoint of the hitter? Because he's got to be the one that sees it, doesn't see it, and his brain's got to react, swing or not. Explain that to our audience.
Yeah, so as a hitter, you're looking for a pitch. And generally, I mentioned you're sitting fastball. So you're looking for a pitch out of the pitcher's hand. You really don't pick up spin. And that's what hitters have said almost unanimously. We give them too much credit for picking up spin. They may pick up something different in your grip as you're releasing it, but they don't really see the spin, especially with high spin rates. It's just a blur. So if you can throw pitches that kind of look the same by the time the hitter has to make a decision and they break differently, the hitter is, usually hunting a fastball. And if he sees it looking like a fastball trajectory, and all of a sudden it's a slider or a changeup that looked like that fastball, they're kind of hosed. So if you think of a tunnel, those baseballs are going down a tunnel on the way to home plate, and then one of the pitches is exiting the tunnel. And hopefully later then the hitter has to make a decision. So the hitter has to, you can't wait for the ball to get to home plate to make a decision because you're going to be late. So you have to swing somewhere in front of home plate. And to the extent they look the same at that point, you got it. Like the hitter is hosed. As a pitcher, you're trying to take advantage of that effect, which is mirror your mechanics. You want to have somewhat similar mechanics on all your pitches. Ideally, some don't, and that's fine. But if it looks the same, and maybe you even you're seeing pitchers now throw the ball straight down the middle of the plate, like all their pitches, and letting the movement take over. So you have a fastball down the middle, and your changeup goes arm side, your slider goes glove side, and maybe a two-seamer or something off of that. or a splitter off of that, but you're just aiming down the middle, and that's tunneling right there, right? So you're creating this triangle of death, I like to call it, for hitters.
Well, we love having you on the program. Get out there, check out the merch at Pitching Ninja. What's your website?
Pitchingninja.com. That's easy, right?
That's easy. The merch is there. You got shirts, hats, you got everything, right?
Yeah, totally. And I wish I had a working camera. That's my only drawback today.
Yeah, I wanted to like show because your logo is great. Hey, if you want to, can you see us right now?
Let me try.
Did you just hang up on him?
He dropped out to try to add it there, to fix his camera.
Here, no.
Nope, just the audio.
Hey, if you want us to put some Ninja merch down on the table to help sell it, let us know. We're here for you.
I'll send you some. I've got to do that, right?
Yeah, we can put like a Ninja hat right between us. It'd be killer.
Yeah, y'all need to just wear one. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, you send me some merch, I'll pimp it.
All right, that's a deal.
Well, I told you I do these hits on NBC California for our pre and post game show. I was wearing your A's version, the green with the gold Ninja. I was wearing that on TV.
That is one of my favorite color combos too, to be honest. I love that.
Yeah, so I've pimped you on TV. Hey, let me tell you, you send stuff, I'll take care of you.
I love it.
All right, buddy, you be well.
Thank you. You too. It's always great to see you. But you can't see me though, so.
Yeah, we want to see you next time.
This is terrible.
Well, then let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Take care, man.
The Pitching Ninja right here. How about that? Any good? He explained tunneling to you.
I know. And when he was sitting in the when we don't call it the green, there's a room that they call it here on a StreamYard, but it's like the waiting room for me to add him to the stream. He was sitting there with the video on, just waiting to come on. And then when we were coming back from the commercial break, he was gone. And it was just odd. I don't know. I texted him, told him, make sure you don't have your camera running for Zoom or anything else you might be using it for, because that sometimes affects it. But
all right, I'm checking because we already had Matt Davidson. We had that days ago. That Matt Davidson signed with the A's.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
I am on our official transactions. Today's the 11th, right?
Yeah.
A's have optioned Adrian Martinez, who, by the way, was fantastic yesterday.
Oh, it was great. Major League debut.
Seriously. We haven't even gotten into that. His debut was phenomenal. Second game, doubleheader, making your debut, and all you do is go out and throw out shutout baseball inning after inning. What was it, 5 1/3?
Yeah, 5 1/3.
If you would have told me 5 1/3 scoreless, you take that?
It is Major League debut.
For a debut? Are you kidding me? He was, you know what? He's low going tonight. I want to see more of. Martinez, I want to see more of.
I'm with you.
I mean, let's see. Can you compete? You don't always have to be a first-round draft pick. You don't always have to be a bonus baby. Light can go on at any time for any of these guys. I mean, Logue's last outing, what, did he give up 2 runs? I mean, I'm back on the program, guys. I want to see more of. Find out what you got. It's the year of discovery. For God's sakes, I go to the preview here. Your ball club right now is 12-19. All right? You're in last place. Let's find some guys that can play. Like, forget Eric Thames is gone, I guess. I don't see it in the transactions. I don't know if you can guarantee it until we announce it. But Buddy Reed gone. I don't see it in the trend. But if those guys are not guys that were going to help you this year, what are they there for? Find some guys that you could potentially call up and help you out. And Adrian Martinez, part of the Sean Manaea trade, for sure is that guy. Everything boring down. Sinker is 2-seam fastball boring down. Changeup down. Do you have it?
I'm on the MILB transactions page, and it says on here, Las Vegas
Is that
Aviators,
more official than our own?
I don't know. I mean, this is run by
That'd
Major
be
League, Minor League
sadly
Baseball.
if it's more updated, but
that's run by Minor League Baseball, but it says on there, Las Vegas Aviators released first baseman Eric Thames, and then Las Vegas released center fielder Buddy Reed.
Wait, we had Buddy Reed on
last spring training,
and he was supposed to be the next. Oh, I got him for the Padres. He's a Padres, right? Got him for
Yeah,
the Padres. It's gonna be this guy.
Power and speed, and well, he's no longer here.
He's gonna
allegedly no longer here according to MILB transactions.
Because I'm on our transactions because I live on athletics.com. I'll even refresh it.
Well, maybe. Well, never mind, because it shows that we released someone that maybe it's because they're not on the 40-man roster. I don't know. Maybe that.
Well, it says we signed Matt Davidson.
Yeah, well, it's a signing, so I don't know. I don't know how the transactions page works. That's a question for Mike Selleck or Mark Ling.
Said we optioned down Adrian Martin. It says the moves that we're making.
There's been a lot of moves in minor league baseball. If you look at just today, at the very bottom of the page is Adrian Martinez news. So it's right like towards the very bottom. Then you have all these different moves that happened in minor league baseball.
Oh, you can't cover it. Like, if you cover minor league baseball, that's fine. But if you cover Major League Baseball, you can't follow all this. The movement, the guys. I mean, I was looking yesterday. There's a top prospects that have already made their debut. I can't. This guy was number 88 on the top 100 for the Kansas City Royals.
Bobby Wood Jr. was number 1. So we know he debuted.
Somebody else. I'm like,
We know he debuted. He wasn't doing well. A lot of the guys that were actually highly touted prospects, Torkelson, it's not hitting. A lot of guys aren't hitting.
Pena is for the Astros.
He's hitting home runs for sure. Yeah, he looks good. Do you think they already forgot Carlos Correa in Houston?
No, because he's there right now.
Well, on the injured list, though.
But he was there. He was palling around with everybody. Verlander going for another no-no. Verlander has taken so many no-nos into the 8th inning. It's amazing.
I think I have.
It really is. I mean, the amount of how many? It's like 6, 7, 8, something like that.
Most no-hit bids of 7+ innings in the expansion era. Nolan Ryan.
Well, he's got everyone.
Nolan Ryan, 23.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan. Anything that has to do with no-hitters, one-hitters, Nolan Ryan's your guy.
Justin Verlander, 8. Randy Johnson, 8. Your guy, Coney, David Cone, 6. Former A, Ken Holtzman, 6.
When are you going to come around on David Cone should be in the Hall of Fame?
I never said I haven't. You were just arguing about him going in. I said, well, Greinke's going in then.
I much rather have David Cone than Zach Greinke in a big game.
I don't deny that. Greinke hasn't got a chance to pitch a lot of big games.
I'm just David Cone. There's a reason why everybody traded for David Cone. There's a reason why you wanted him in the World Series. You want that stuff he plays.
Can I give you some stats from Reed Detmers?
You know what I'm getting out of? What am I getting out of Zach Greinke?
Well, now that he's 38 years old.
Well, I know, but Zach Greinke, you just send me numbers. You're not. Where's my heart of a lion guy? I want the dude. Is Greinke the dude? Did Greinke even want to be the dude?
No.
So why would I want him when my baseball life is on the line? Do I want a guy who goes, I don't want to have to talk to the media after no-hitter. That's why I don't want to throw one. Is that the kind of guy I want?
I mean, he's still pretty damn good.
I have no idea why I'm screaming. Is that the guy I want?
He's still pretty damn good, though.
I'm not saying that. You're not answering the question. Answer the question.
I take David Cone.
Do you want a guy, when your baseball life is on the line, do you want a guy on the mound whose mentality is, I just will go out and pitch, and I really don't even want to throw a no-hitter because I'd have to talk to the media after? Is that the kind of guy you want?
Most teams will say no, but Greinke's still good. I mean,
is that what Tom Brady wanted? Is that what Joe Montana wanted, the greatest winners?
Don't talk about Tom Brady. He's going to make more money being an analyst when he's done playing.
Did Michael Jordan not want to score 50 because he didn't want to talk to the media after?
Jordan was as they say, a killer when it came to big games. So it's Tom
Kobe, whoever you want. Who do you want?
LeBron.
You think Steph Curry doesn't want to hit 13 threes because he's afraid I'm going to talk to the media after, and I'm after. That's the guy you want? No, it's not. That's your Greinke. You know what Greinke is? Greinke's the guy that wants to take a lot of money and go pitch in Arizona because nobody cares. And has no problem going to Kansas City. Would have stayed in Kansas City because nobody cares. That's Zach Greinke.
Can we change and give you some numbers on Reed Detmer since we lightly touched on it? Because
out of
Louisville, Reed Detmer's through the 12th no-hitter in Angels history. Of course, Nolan Ryan has most of them. The Rays were no-hit for the 6th time in their history, first time since Felix Hernandez's perfect game. They were also perfect game by
They got a lot.
Yeah. Dallas Braden threw a perfect game.
Wow.
This was the 11th career start for Reed Detmers. He had a 6.33 ERA coming in. He got a very that play that Jared Walsh made where they called it an error. Could have won either way.
No, that's an error. You don't think that was an error?
I think it was an error, but I'm trying to play contrarian here. But he only struck out 2 batters. This is what
it's a ground ball to first base. They had to move a couple steps to his right, and he booted it. You give that a hit. Oh my god!
He bobbled it, and then he picked it up and dropped it. So it's definitely an error. He struck out 2 batters. That's the fewest in a no-hitter since Francisco Liriano had that many in 2011. There has been a guy as recent as 1969 that struck out 0 guys in a no-hitter. Who was he?
Who am I? A no-no with no strikeouts.
I'll give you a clue. I mentioned his name already once today in the last 10 minutes, and he was a former A.
That's not Verlander.
No, he was on that list though that I mentioned.
Former A? You mentioned a former A?
I did. World Series.
Do I just not listen to you?
Probably. It was Nolan Ryan. It was Verlander, Randy Johnson, David Cohn, and Ken Holtzman. 0 strikeouts with the Cubs in 1969.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. 1969.
Who's the last? All right, let's test.
I don't know.
Jessica gave me trivia, by the way, at 9 a.m. yesterday. And she was going into Philadelphia athletics trivia. When is the last thing? Like, I got Nap Lajoie on because that was the only name I could pull. It was who was something, the last A, or who was the Philadelphia A to do something? And I'm like, the only pitch, Lefty Grove. But this was an offensive one. I got it right just because, I could only think. Nap Lajoie. And it was and then the other one it was either Lajoie or God, he was just in my head. Eddie Collins.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those are the only 2 Philadelphia athletic position player Hall of Famers I could pull. But I got it right.
What about
whatever her question was, Nap Lajoie was the answer.
Is it Mickey Cochran in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, catcher.
Yeah.
I couldn't pull him. It was 9 a.m. And then she brought up some Kansas City athletics trivia on me.
Boy.
Yeah.
Ken Hawk Harrelson, Tony La Russa. That's about as far as besides Joe Rudy and the guys who played in Kansas City before they came to Oakland.
Didn't Phil Garner come up in Kansas City?
Rick
Monday.
First ever draft pick.
Out of
Arizona State.
You're missing the trivia of trivia. And if you don't know this, I question your baseball knowledge. Reed Detmers is the he's not the only Angel rookie to throw a no-no. Who's the last Angel to throw?
Mark Langston.
Nope.
It was Witt.
Nope.
I don't know that.
Bo Belinsky, you don't know that?
No.
How do you not know that?
Why would I don't pay attention to Angels history.
How do you not know Bo Belinsky did this?
If you ask my wife or father-in-law who are Angels fans, they probably couldn't tell you that.
It was like yesterday. It was like 1960.
Yeah, like yesterday. I wasn't even born yet.
It was 1960. You don't know that 1962 on May 5th he pitched a no-hitter?
You saw this somewhere, and now you act like you knew about it the whole time.
Of course. I saw it on Quick Pitch last night on MLB Network. What do you think I do at night? I watch MLB Network. They give me all my knowledge on stuff.
But
you think I know with 1962?
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
You know what his nickname was? Street Rat.
Interesting.
Bo Belinsky, known as the Street Rat from Trenton Central High School. Who did he throw the no?
Phil Garner was not brought up through the Kansas City A's.
Oh, by the way, that would be a career record of 25-51, but through the first no-hitter in the history of the Los Angeles Angels. They were the Los Angeles Angels at the time, and the first one at
the Big A?
Chavez Ravine.
Oh, wow.
Dude, I am spitting knowledge at you right now. It was the first at Chavez Ravine, beating the Baltimore Orioles 2-0 in 1962. Oh, by the way, How's that possible? The Dodger, Sandy Koufax hadn't thrown a no-no yet?
What year was 1962?
1962.
That's when Koufax started.
They moved west. The Dodgers moved west in 58.
He was in the peak of his 5-year peak where he was the best pitcher ever. He had to have had a no-hitter in there.
I believe everything that I read, but maybe they were on the road. Okay, Dodgers no-hitters since they moved to L.A. Sandy Koufax had one in 62, but where was it? He had another one in 63. He had another one in 64. Now, this is wrong. Well, where did where were they playing? Were they playing at the Coliseum? What year did Dodger Stadium open up?
Chavez Ravine, let's see.
If Bo Belinsky's doing it, and it might be, it could be true because Sandy's was June 30th, 1962. Bo Belinsky's was May 5th. It would have been a month ahead.
I'm looking up to see when.
Bo Belinsky threw a no-hitter at Dodger Stadium before Sandy Koufax did. I bet you didn't know that.
They're renovating Dodger Stadium right now for the All-Star game. 1962, April 10th, 1962.
I told you, I believe everything I read on the internet, and it's proof. Bo Belinsky threw the first no-hitter at Dodger Stadium as a Los Angeles Angels ever before Sandy Koufax did it against the Mets.
Can you tell me?
Hey, by the way, point the other. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm pointing at.
You're pointing.
Depending on which count.
There you go. Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm educating you. I'm educating everybody today on A's Cast.
About the first Angels no-hitter?
But no, the first
Dodger Stadium no-hitter.
Dodger Stadium no-hitter.
You know
you'd go Koufax, Drysdale. No, Bo Belinsky. The street rat is the first one.
Mark Langston was on the list of no-hitters. It was a combined no-hitter, but
Mark Langston? What? Mark Langston?
He was a combined no-hitter with him and
Okay, first of all, that doesn't count anyway. That was in what, the 90s?
No, it was the 80s.
Late 80s? As an Angel?
As an Angel, yeah.
He was still an Angel in the late 80s? I thought he was a Seattle Mariner in the late 80s.
It was the early 80s for Langston.
No, it was. He was not. He was in college in the 80s, for God's sakes, at San Jose State.
Mark Langston.
You have poor baseball knowledge. Mark Langston was...
Yeah, 1990.
Thank you. Mark Langston in the early 80s probably was a kid at Santa Clara playing soccer and baseball.
Oh, by the way, give you a heads up. Gooby's coming on with us on Friday, so we can ask him about Rendon.
He's got a lot of explaining to do because he says this is like this great moment in baseball, and I want the integrity police to say, you're making a mockery of the game.
Well, we'll see what Gooby has to say. Friday, 4:15.
Love it. On the field.
On the field, yeah. It's the first time we'll see him in a couple of years.
All right, we got to do Petriello, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you want a break here?
Sure.
We're paying the bills, and the next Mike Petriello from MLB.com and MLB Network right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Did you know that with Xfinity Internet, you get fast and reliable speeds? Best of all, you could save up to $400 a year on your wireless bill when you add Xfinity Mobile. Can your internet do that?
Check out our amazing deals on Xfinity Internet and choose from one of our fast speed options to fit your needs. Plus, you could save up to $400 a year on wireless when you also get Xfinity Mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply. Compares pricing of top carriers. Xfinity Internet required.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And RingCentral's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. RingCentral. Message, video, phone, together.
Hey Ace fans, we've got a great deal for you. Get 4 tickets and parking for all Friday night games starting at just $39. Pick from great matchups, post-game fireworks and drone shows, giveaways, and more.
Outside corner, ring him up. And Eaton can't believe it.
Grab the crew and head to the Coliseum with friends and family any Friday night this season. 4 tickets and parking starting at just $39 for the whole group. Tickets are available at athletics.com. That's athletics.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrier locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
All righty, before we get to Mike Petriello, we need to promote this sweet hat that we're giving away. You ready, Cody?
Yeah, join us as we celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage at the ballpark Friday, May 13th, or a couple days from now, Friday, May 13th. Snag an AAPI hat presented by Cal State East Bay at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets. Now the A's are taking on
the Halos.
Reed Detmers, left-handed hitting Anthony Rendon, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, and the
look at the underbill. The underbill is sweet.
Yeah, that, and then I love the underbill. You got the sponsor, Cal State East Bay.
Cal State East Bay. Let me get that in there.
And then Stop Asian Hate on the, was that the left side of the hat?
Stop Asian Hate right there. Once again, the underbill is sweet. I call this the Tiger Woods lid. This is what you're wearing on Sundays when you're going to win a major championship. Old Tigre busts out what?
Red.
Busts out the red, but it's a lot of time it's black and red. He's wearing black pants
and red polo.
This is what you, when you're with your buddies golfing on Sundays and you're playing for some cash, this is the hat you put on. You're going to win some money. Win some stakes.
That's Friday, May 13th. You can snag the AAPI
this hat is
hat.
Sweet. This is one of the best. No offense to all giveaway hats in the history of giveaways. This might be the best one.
Athletics.com/tickets.
All right. Earlier today on video, this is a cool thing about what we're doing now on YouTube and on Twitter is to have, as we had Bill on, should have the Ninja.
That's a user error. That's on us.
But this is the future, man. People want to see it, right? You want to hear it on A's Cast, great, but you'd also like to see it, and that's what shows are all about. Here is Mike Petriello from MLB.com and MLB Network. Been so far this first start of the season?
Things have been great. Baseball's been super fun. Lots of good stories. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, you look at a lot of the stories, and there's a lot of interest, whether on both coasts. And wouldn't you say that's probably been one of the things that's been really good for the game of baseball is that you have, like, the American League East, you got the National League West, you got both coasts with a lot of great baseball going on at one time.
Well, I mean, I would say that, right? Like, if you look at the big markets, yes, the Mets and Yankees are good, right? The Dodgers and the Angels are good. The Giants are pretty good. I don't know that the people in the middle of the country would think that way because the Centrals are both pretty rough. But yes, if you like coastal baseball, then it's been fantastic.
Well, let's start out here, and we're seeing it right now, is what we've always thought was a possibility is now a reality. If guys are healthy for the Angels, if they get pitching, boy, that could be dangerous. And right now they're going to be coming here over the weekend for a series. And you look at Trout's being Trout again. It's like every night he's got 2 home runs. Then Ohtani, whether he's striking out 11 guys or hitting 2 bombs, it's all coming together for them. Are you buying it? How dangerous really are the Halos?
I'm mostly buying it for now. And I think part of that is because Ohtani has only looked kind of okay at the plate, right? Like he's been fantastic as a pitcher, but you have not seen the same hitter as you saw last year. So if you get that version of him to come back at any point, then yeah, they're going to be good. Like it comes down to the same, I think 2 things it always comes down to, right? Is will Trout stay healthy, which he hasn't the last couple of years, and he has so far this year. And will anybody pitch? And that's the part that's been interesting so far. I know Reed Detmers threw a no-hitter, and that was super impressive. And not to take credit away from him, that doesn't make him like an ace in my mind necessarily, right? Like it's a young guy who's shown that he's talented, and that's really good. I mean, I've liked Patrick Sandoval there for a while. I think he's really talented and good. I think Raisel Iglesias is one of the most underrated relievers in baseball. He's really good. So I'm impressed with what they've done. And I think what you need every year for any of these teams is someone unexpected to show up, right? And so far, that guy's been Taylor Ward, who's been fantastic.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, when you're overshadowing Trout at a certain point, that tells you a lot. And when you look out west here, I mean, obviously the NL West. Oh, you know what? I want to get one more thing on the Angels because I remember I also do stuff for our NBC affiliate here, NBC California, which our games run on, and I was trying to be not the old school get off my lawn guy. If you remember back, Padres and Giants at the early part of the season, Giants got out to an early lead. A guy stole a base early. Then a guy bunted in the 6th inning. Next, you know, Bob Melvin, our old friend, and Matt Williams, they're all flipping out in the Padres dugout and the whole unwritten rules. You remember that game?
I do, of course.
Right. So I brought it up going, are you kidding me? Play the game. Stop it if you don't like it. A bunch of people got mad at me. Even Dave Stewart goes, I didn't see Willie Mays do that. Let me take you back to last night then. Are we now, if we're going to be get off my lawn, unwritten rules, stop playing the game when the score gets to be a certain, and it's Bush League if you're bunting or stealing bases. What about a pitcher on the mound, Maverick, our buddy Brett Phillips, and then, okay, hitters got to still hit, but then you got Rendon going up there, hitting left-handed and knocking it out. I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to get after me for saying it's okay to keep playing the game, but the integrity of the game is when you got an outfielder on the mound and a guy hitting left-handed for the first time. He hits it out. Oh, it's great. Wait a minute. Willie Mays never did that. Willie Mays never hit left-handed against a position player. So where are we on the integrity with a pitcher throwing and a guy getting up there hitting left-handed for the first time?
I don't know, man. Now you just got me thinking about if Willie Mays could hit home runs left-handed, because I bet he probably could.
Hank Aaron,
get up fast. Yeah, totally. I mean, you tell me if I missed something, right? But I didn't see any complaints coming out of either dugouts about that last night. You know, everyone seemed cool with it. Nobody seemed to have a problem. Like, obviously, you got a position player on the mound. Let Rendon hit the other way. No one was throwing at anybody. No one was complaining about it. I think if you go back a couple weeks, there was the issue with the Giants and the Nationals, right, where they were complaining about that. And I think the score at the time was the Giants were up by, like, I don't know, 6 or whatever, and the Nationals were complaining, even though the Giants had put up all of their runs in one single inning, like an hour beforehand, as though like that's a big enough lead. I don't think the unwritten rules are as big of a deal anymore. Like, that's just not the way the game is played, and all the better for it. Like, that doesn't serve anybody.
That's what I said a long time ago. I got hammered for it. And I'm like, look at last night. You got Phillips tweeting Trout on Twitter. I mean, it's fun. It's engaging. It helps bring the younger folks into the game. I thought it was good. Staying here out west, obviously the National League West, everybody over 500. Everybody's playing good baseball. Good luck to our friend Bob Melvin, who's going to be undergoing a surgical procedure. We're going to be away from the Padres for just a little bit. But there's the Dodgers and everybody else. The everybody else, do you see any of them staying with the Dodgers for the season?
I do. I think the Padres are for real. The fact that they have hung around this far without Fernando Tatis is a really good sign, because I think what's happening there is, if you look at them, Manny Machado is playing at an MVP caliber level, which I certainly think he can sustain. Eric Hosmer is playing like wildly over his head, right? Yeah. So when he comes back down, which he almost certainly will, that'll be about the time Fernando Tatis is coming back. And I think that's going to work out really well for them. You know, all credit to Hosmer for helping them stay afloat in what looked like kind of a tough spot. You know, like the offense going into the year without Tatis sort of seemed a little underwhelming to me, So Hosmer's done really well. Again, credit to him for that. Ha-Seong Kim has done a pretty good job on both sides of the ball, filling in at shortstop. And what they've really done that I liked a lot was, if you remember the starting rotation at the end of last year, they had to go find Jake Arrieta, they had to go find Vince Velasquez, and it did not work well. Well, they went out and they made some trades, and they are full of starting pitching. Like Mackenzie Gore has finally arrived. I like the starters a lot. And they're not the Dodgers, right? But they're the clear second best team in that division. And I say that even though I do believe in the Giants. They're not 107 win Giants. They've had a lot of injuries, but I do believe they're for real. And, I'm not going to say that I think the other two teams can stay above 500 because they won't, although they're off to good starts. But yeah, I like the Padres.
Yeah, the D-backs out of nowhere, and our buddy Torey Lavello, former A, is doing a great job down there. And, we don't like the Giants, but you do got to give them their due, especially after the season they had last year. They're going to be there. Switching to the other coast, and something that has been a lot of fun for us baseball dorks, is we're able to tune into these games starting at 4:00. Well before our games start. And you just, like you're watching right now, you had the walk-off bomb last night for the Yankees and the spirited series between the Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. I know it's just a quick 2-game set, but the battles they've had already this year, we've dealt with the Rays now twice already. We know how good they are. Just talk about the American League East, how competitive, and the one major disappointment would be the Red Sox.
Yeah, how do you like the Orioles not being in last place in that division? I don't know who that says more about.
You can't hit home runs at Camden Yards now.
No. I'm gonna give myself just a little pat on the back here because I never bought into the Red Sox in the first place. I did not have them as a playoff team, but that was mostly because I didn't trust their pitching in any way, and that's come true a little bit. But I'm shocked at how poor the offense has been. Bogarts has been fine, Devers has been fine, Story's been a mess, Verdugo's been a mess. I'm surprised at how quickly that's gone downhill. And you can't totally play yourself out of a playoff spot in a league with 6 playoff spots this early, but it's pretty close, right? So I'm down on the Red Sox coming back. When you look at the East, though, like the Yankees are for real. And I think what happened was the vibes were bad, is the best way to put it, right? Yankee fans were so annoyed. They didn't get Correa, they didn't get Seager, they didn't get Freddie Freeman, they didn't get the big guys they wanted. They got Josh Donaldson and Anthony Rizzo and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who are good players, but they're not top tier superstars anymore. And it's worked out. I think not enough people look at the bullpen on that team. Everybody knows Aroldis Chapman, right? Not enough people know Michael King, who is unbelievable, or Clay Holmes, who is unbelievable, or Nestor Cortez, who's a starter, who has just turned himself from, this funky kind of like Sid Fernandez-esque lefty to someone who's like actually really good. He's going to make an all-star team, I think. So what they've done with their pitching staff has been super impressive.
So let's head over to our friends in the Central. And would you say maybe the biggest disappointment this year so far is our good friend Tony La Russa and the Chicago White Sox?
There's part of me that's wondering who's managing that team come the All-Star break, to be honest, because things have gone really poorly, and it's not all his fault. They've had injuries, right? Like Jimenez is hurt, as has happened before, and Andrew Vaughn is hurt, and Lance Lynn is out, and that's totally fine. But I'm struggling to think of a off-season decision that looks worse right now than them declining to offer Carlos Rodon a qualifying offer and letting him walk away for nothing, because Rodon looks like the dude. He looks unbelievable for the Giants. And then when you look at what's plagued the White Sox, yeah, again, injuries, sure, but their defense has been just wretched, right? Like the eye test, any metric you can think of, they're not playing good defense. And if you know me at all, I'm not the type to go to fundamental baseball, but that is what they're failing at right now. They'll be better. Lance Lynn will come back. Giolito's great. They'll get healthier. I have confidence that the guys will hit. But I don't know how they're going to improve that defense, because I can tell you what made me laugh, right? Gavin Sheets was playing right field the other day and made this just brutal error in the first inning. And basically the response was, well, he's only playing there because he's a first baseman, because Jimenez is injured and Andrew Vaughn is injured. And it's like, yeah, but that's basically a DH and basically a first baseman. So if those are the reasons he's in your outfield, that's a bigger problem.
All right, let's end on this. The analytics crowd. And you're one of them, and we love you for it because your articles are fantastic, and we love your work on MLB Network. But what are we going to do when guys don't hit? And this game turns into strikeouts and walks, and everybody's – if you've looked at our lineup, 230, we would take 230 with a lot of guys in our lineup. what are we making in the analytics crowd? Batting average doesn't matter. Well, obviously it doesn't because nobody's hitting. What are we now at 231 or 230 as a league?
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that, right? Like, I think in April we had the lowest league slugging percentage for a month since like 1992 or whatever, and everybody is following the story. The balls are not flying as well, whether that's the ball itself, whether that's a change in the humidor, like it's probably a combination of multiple things. But I don't know that it's realistic to expect guys to just start hitting like it's 1985 overnight. That's not what they've been trained for. And the fact of the matter is, ball or not, pitching is a lot better than it used to be. It's hard to hit. It's hard to make contact. It's hard to put the ball where you want it to. So I think it's really unfair to say, well, we're not going to put any limits on the pitchers, but now you batters, we expect you to hit, like you used to hit without any training for that. I think that's unfair. So I think you're going to see a lot of this season. But the one thing that stands out to me is every time there's a ball that goes out and you think it should be a home run and it dies at the warning track, right? It sort of depends on what your comparison point is. Because if you look at the baseball from, let's say, 2017 to 2020, which is, mostly a power ball, and that's what you think your normal is, then yeah, everything is going to be disappointed. But is this what baseball was like for, decades before that? It's just kind of an interesting thing because I remember everybody was annoyed with how many home runs we had in 2019. It's sort of hard to please anybody.
Well, I'll tell you this. Yesterday, we've been playing because we lost Ray Fosse, obviously, and he did all these interviews all these years. We played one yesterday because we're in Detroit. This is way back, Ray Fosse and Hall of Famer Sparky Anderson. And Sparky Anderson, way back in the 80s, complaining about a juiced baseball. And a lot of things he was complaining about, we've heard those complaints. So it's like, it doesn't matter what decade. It doesn't matter what era. People have been complaining about the equipment, especially the ball, it seems like forever.
Yeah, I didn't hear that interview, but I'm guessing it was about 1987, right? The year that Wade Boggs hit 28 home runs out of nowhere. And I think if I learned anything the last couple of years, it's that we have the equipment and the technology now to measure these things. And that doesn't mean that this is the first time this kind of stuff has happened. We just didn't know it before. Like you go back to weird home run seasons like 87, 1930, probably like Brady Anderson hitting 50 whatever home runs that one year. And people are like, oh, well, he was using a little helper. And it's like, okay, but did he just stop that the next year? I bet a lot of this was about the ball over time in ways we just never knew about.
Hey, great stuff as always. We truly appreciate it. We wanted to have you on with the new set, so you got to see the new digs.
It's fantastic. I wish I'd known. I would have turned my little purple light here green because I can make it any color I want. But next time.
Oh, that is nice. I like that. You can do whatever you want with that.
Yeah, I'm going to do it live on your air here, which is super good television. But let's see. There we go. Green.
I love that. We need to get one of those. Hey, great stuff. We love reading you. We love watching you on MLB Network. You be well, and we'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Thanks. Take care.
I'm jealous. A little jelly. Where would we put that light?
We can put it above the Charlie O mule sign right here that I'm pointing to. Maybe about that. And they'll have the green light reflecting on that. And it looks like we're going to get some merch potentially from the Pitching Ninja. So that'll be great. I just heard from him. He asked for our address. So and he told me he promised he'll have his camera fixed for next time. So no problems there. I'm just glad we had him. So
on this date, I just got my baseball notes. We got time, right?
Maybe a few minutes. On
this date 50 years ago, what happened?
50 years ago, that would have been 1972. Thought the DH, because season started already. No one won a World Series. I don't know what happened.
The Giants dealt Willie Mays to the Mets, your Mets, for right-hander Charlie Williams. You remember Charlie, right?
Yeah, big fan.
And $50,000.
Let's look up. Let's see what kind of career Charlie Williams had.
He was traded. How was a trade received in San Francisco? Well, San Francisco Mayor Joseph Alioto riffed off Casey at bat. There's no joy in Frisco tonight. The mighty Stoneham has struck out, as in Giants owner Horace Stoneham. Wow, the mayor Alioto, the mayor, used the term Frisco for San Francisco.
Yeah, I've been told.
Because you do it now. Oh, my God.
Yeah. I've been told you can't say that. Charlie Williams pitched in 237 games, 24 starts with the San Francisco Giants over 7 years. Had a 3.82 ERA, so respectable.
Back then, though?
204 strikeouts, 234 walks, and 483 innings. He never won more than 6 games with the Giants. So there you go. There's how that deal worked out. I mean, Willie Mays was in his, late 30s, early 40s when he was dealt. Charlie Williams in his debut with the Giants was 24, and that's what you got for him. You got 18 wins, 11 losses, in 237 games, 24 starts.
Meanwhile, the Mets rolled out the red carpet for Mays, whisking him to Shea Stadium in a black Cadillac limousine. The 41-year-old Mays would hit 14 home runs in 135 games with the Mets over the final 2 seasons of his career, 1972 and 1973.
They went to the World Series in 1973 and played the A's.
Remember that? Yogi Berra was the skipper. We got to see all that during COVID. Notable hitting streaks right now, J.D. Martinez, 12. On base streaks, J.D. Martinez, 28. Oh, we didn't bring up Josh Hader. We have a debate here on Ace Cast Live.
We have a few minutes to talk about it.
You ready?
Yes. I mean, I know what it is. We talked about it last night, but let me just pull up his. You know, I'm a big Josh Hader guy, so.
Yeah, that's why I think this plays out really well. Josh Hader, go ahead.
Josh Hader, we talking about, so his career now, he got his 500th strikeout, and he picked up the save last night. Now it was 108. He was the fastest pitcher to 500 strikeouts, right? Fastest reliever?
No, fastest pitcher in Major League Baseball history to 500 strikeouts in innings pitched.
Oh, in innings pitched, yeah. He's only had 293 and 2/3.
Yeah.
Really? That seems, are you sure it's not for relievers?
I sent it to you. Oh, you're not prepared. You either are prepared or you're not. I sent it to you last night.
Fewer innings than any pitcher in MLB history. Fewer innings.
Yeah, I said.
But you're telling me, no, yeah, I guess because starters back in the day went 300 innings. That's impressive. It is, but is it that impressive though?
Yes.
The way guys are striking out all the time though?
Doesn't matter. I mean, the amount of punch outs that this guy's getting, you think of, I mean, the only thing you could say is like, you look at guys like Randy Johnson and Nolan Ryan didn't get out to the greatest of starts to their careers, right? Nolan Ryan with the Mets, Randy Johnson with the Montreal Expos. But you could think Walter Johnson. I mean, you think of the titans of strikeouts, Justin Verlander, Roger Clemens. I mean, Roger Clemens came out of the University of Texas and was striking everybody out. You know, Pedro Martinez is always was a big try. So it's like, to be faster than any of those guys. So, I mean,
I'm just looking at, his, I'm looking at his leverage. He's pitched in, he's been in 188 games of high leverage situations. I don't know. Well, he has 256 career strikeouts in high leverage situations. That's pretty remarkable. This is a guy that doesn't pitch just one inning. Well, he does. Maybe he does now. But before, he went multiple innings for the Brewers. He got 6-out saves, 9-out saves. He's like a throwback almost to Raleigh Fingers, where you got multiple inning saves. The guys, I mean, I know the strikeouts. I said that it's because guys are striking out a lot. It truly is remarkable. A guy that was a former starter who's now a reliever. And I know I always say there's guys in baseball I'd like to see be like him. AJ Puck. Well, baby steps right now. But what Hader's doing for that Brewers bullpen and what he's done throughout his career, a former Astro, once traded for Mike Fiers. Fiers went to Houston. Hader went to Milwaukee, and that's how that story went. I think 500. I know I said it's not impressive. It is, but I just feel that way because so many guys.
I think it's very impressive. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, Mariano Rivera is supposed to be the greatest reliever of all time. He didn't do it.
He didn't do it. Trevor Hoffman didn't do it. Bruce Sutter.
Trevor Hoffman was a huge strikeout guy.
Yeah, that changeup was one of the best, and he's on. I mean, kudos to Hader.
Stop hating on Hader.
Yeah, I'm being a wait for it hater.
Just to put, you want me to leave you on a good note? The A's, what does he do?
He gets on base.
Do I care how he gets on base?
You do not.
The A's have the lowest on base in the league at 263.
I think the A's have the lowest batting average in the American League too.
That's 19 points lower than the Chicago White Sox, who have the second worst OBP in baseball. So are we the lowest? When they say in the league, is that all of baseball or the American League?
I think that's just the league is the American League. I can look up.
But they say the White Sox have the second worst.
They might. Hey, look, I'll pull it up.
263 on base is the third lowest by any team. This doesn't make sense because the White Sox are in the same league as us.
Yeah, here, hold on. It was on base percentage you're talking about?
Yes.
I'm looking right now. Beauty of the A's are first, and then it's the White Sox, the Royals, the Reds.
So we are the first. When it says the league, it means the league.
Yeah. The closest National League team, Torey Lovello and the surprising Diamondbacks at 290 at sixth.
The A's 263 on base is the third lowest by any team through the first 31 games in the live ball era.
That's not good. Do you know what the batting average is? The batting average for the team right now is at the Mendoza line.
What, 200?
Yeah, only one team has a lower batting average.
We're hitting 200?
One team has a lower batting average. That'd be Arizona at 199. The next closest is Houston.
I hate to check this. I got to do this before we get out of here because I've been doing this. Let's see if they've updated in our game notes. I have the update, but I want to be lazy and just have them do it for me because that technically is their job. Yes, the last 22 games. Christian Pache is hitting $123.
Yeah, I pulled the audio for. We'll see how he does today and tomorrow. Maybe we play it on Friday on our show. Jim Leland's audio. Talking about sending good players down that were good players and grew from it. So, but that's all we got for today.
Do we have are the lineups out?
I'd have to pull up the.
Who is playing short? Elvis is playing short. Who's playing left? Pender's in there, so that's good news.
Yeah, after
both
that
guys
collision,
are in there. All righty, we want to thank Bill Moriarty. We want to thank Rob Friedman, and we want to thank Mike Petriello for all stopping by A's Cast Live. Thank you, everybody who listened, everybody who watched, everybody who did both. We'll be back tomorrow at what time?
Not tomorrow, Friday. Day game tomorrow.
We got a day game tomorrow?
Yeah, 10-10.
Oh, God, it never ends.
Yeah, we'll be back on Friday at 4 with Marcotte.
So we went doubleheader to a regular game, to a doubleheader, to a regular game, back to a doubleheader Saturday, which is a day-night doubleheader.
Yeah. A lot of time in between that day.
Oh, my God. But I love it because it's baseball season. It's the best. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you just a little bit right here for A's Total Access.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Cor.